I'm Tom Howe, and I'm the VFX artist on the Carrier.
Thanks. And I'm Henry Howe.
Anne Woodley and Luke Healy came to our office in summer 2013 asking if we could help them out with a film they were making about a group of survivors on a 747. This was a Kickstarter project, so there was not a lot of money, and everyone was aware of that at the start. But they were still quite ambitious about what the film was going to be about, and it had to be a 747. However they did it, the film had to be about the group of survivors on the plane. They came to us asking if we could help out with that side of things, trying to make a 747 come to life.
It was something new for us. We'd never dealt with flying planes before. This is a new realm for us to sort of, venture in. We had to learn new things and figure a lot of things out from scratch.
We started off thinking that there were going to be a few effect shots, maybe 10 plane shots and maybe one, maybe two scenes in the cockpit. Quite a lot of VFX, actually.
We didn't think there was going to be as much as there ended up being, and it was a bit of a shock when we first realized how much there was to do.
There's a lot of planes,
Cockpit shots,
gunshots,
blood splatter shots,
green screening.
We've had to put logos of the false airline on the plane itself whenever there's a full view of it. We've had to get rid of cars driving in reflections and any markers on the floor. We've had to remove them all, and smoke plumes put in on the horizon.
That was a mix of matte painting and smoke effects merged into one to give it a kind of a movement, but keeping it stagnant as well, as if it was just constantly there in the background.
Oh, we had to set the city on fire.
Oh, we had to set the city on fire, yes. It was the opening scene with little Seth, all shot on green screen, except for one or two shots. Most of that scene was green screen.
Lots of sky. Ant expressed that he was adamant about having sky in the background. He wanted it to feel like it wasn't all done in a studio. But the cockpit on a 747 is so high that when you get a green screen up to those heights, it's just going to flap around in the wind. So the alternative was to use diff paper to diffuse the light a bit and get rid of the background entirely, but keep the brightness. You needed a couple of guys on a rickety old cherry picker going up 50 feet to stick large pieces of paper onto a huge curved object on a windy day.
Yeah, it's nice solid white. It's not, just raise it, lower the camera a little bit and you get it. Yeah, so I'll do it next time, mate.
But we still had the problem of getting the white out without interfering with Tobias's white shirt. We were using an actual plane that had its engines replaced
With a twin set.
It was a unique design to 747 standards.
So any shot that you're seeing the plane in its entirety on the ground, the engines have been replaced. Ant and Luke were kind of wanted it to be a more generic plane. They wanted it to have no special features, really. There were some difficult things. There's a photograph in a wallet that needs to be replaced.
You did a test, didn't you, with your face first?
Did a test with my face.
Yeah, just to see how close we could get it.
That was pretty scary.
Ant gave me a call saying that he needed the title sequence relatively quickly.
We had very little time to do it. We had about a week to do it.
After 2 days of not knowing what to do,
We were stuck. And then Henry had a brilliant idea.
I myself do a bit of macro photography and have a bit of experience in it.
Henry found one of our old microscopes. He managed to somehow sellotape it to his macro lens camera.
And just threw all sorts under it.
Then out came the paints and the oils, the water, and I think there was shaving cream,
Food colorings,
some beer.
crushed up aspirin.
Then the fun started, and suddenly he started coming out with this brilliant stuff. The stuff was so beautiful and gorgeous. It was lovely to look at. I'd walk in and see how Henry was doing at 3 o'clock in the morning, and find him covered in paint and in just his pants, with his glasses on, looking like a mad scientist in front of a microscope. Henry managed to film hours of this awesome stuff. It was all so different.
We multiplied the speed by something like 5,000%. And suddenly it all came to life. We were just in awe at what we had captured on film out of just simple household items.
And a little tiny slab of meat.
I went to have some pork loin, and as I threw it in the pan, I saw it sort of wobble a bit, and I thought, oh, brilliant, I've got to see what that looks like up close, and then run some dyes through it and do all sorts with it. As I was shifting it under the microscope, I realized that as I was moving it, it looked like it was pumping. So I thought, oh, well, we'll do that. So we're sort of very, very, very slowly making this piece of meat move back and forth. And then when it got into the computer and we sped it up, it's just this thing going, and it looked great.
There was also the actual footage side of things, which involved shots of the army and shots of downed planes. Somehow had to make it all work together to kind of explain what had been going on.
It was cool coming up with an idea in such a short amount of time, with such simple resources, that got well received. Ant and I went to school together when we were kids, and we've been friends ever since then. We've both had aspirations to make films, so I've, been working on visual effects and animations and all sorts, and Ant's been sort of more director's cap on, and he's, it's really cool to see him making films now. We're always happy to be part of that because it's just great to see how far he's come with it, and we want to be part of that journey and help him out as much as we can. Working with Ant, you're kind of guaranteed to have a good laugh as well as have that good teamwork.
He does like to have fun. He's a fun director. He's good with the people he works with. There's no animosity or hierarchy with Ant, not really. You can tell there's something going on in his head, but he seems to be mysteriously keeping it from you. We got to visit the set about halfway through the shoot in March, on a very cold, sunny day in March. That was really nice because that was the day we got to meet everyone for the first time.
The first day that we turned up was when Jack Gordon playing Craig and Zora Bishop playing Kate discover the bodies inside the warehouse. That was the day we first turned up and got to know everyone.
And then a few more times we were involved in what was going on in the cockpit because of those shots.
Just pull in that way. Yeah.
I have to get my gun out.
Might have to.
Okay, stand by.
We'd be observing everything and making sure that, with the shots, if there's any visual effects needed, is it going accordingly for us to work with? But it involved a lot of standing around. And in that standing around, you do sort of ponder to yourself like, oh my God, we've got to make this plane fly.
And action.
So when it comes to the end of production, that's when all of the weight kind of comes onto our shoulders. We've got to fill in the gaps now.
And cut there. Cut there.
I'm actually most proud of the fact that everyone did what they did. Credit to Ant and Luke. They managed to get everybody on board this thing, and for a short time, everyone was a little family.
I love Crazy, mate. Yeah, it's my favourite thing in the world. Yeah, man. Excuse me, Tom. Sorry? Just casually walk up. That'd be better. What's that? Oh, God.
Seeing the film in its finished product after all the work that people have put in, and this thing's been going on for about 2 years now, since Luke and Ant started working on it from the first days of 2013. It's been a long process, and Ant's worked really, really hard. Luke's worked hard, and I think everybody's just kind of chuffed that it's over.
I'm just very impressed at the achievement that everyone actually did manage to pull out pennies from sock drawers and just get this thing put together somehow. And now here it is.